Open up the floor. Question. Oh, look how fast you were. Right there. The prank. You want to hear about it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just preface. Can you see down there? I'll just preface this story by saying I was extremely jet lagged at the time. So we'd been shooting at this facility called NIF, which is some nuclear ignition facility in San Francisco, where they shoot laser beams into a particular spot and do all sorts of amazing scientific things, which I have no idea. But the place looked amazing. Anyway, they'd been shooting there for a week, and so I turn up to set, and we go for drinks the night before, and the guys are like, "Oh, yeah, we have to do that public service announcement tomorrow." And I'm like, "Oh, what's that?" She said, "Oh, just because we're shooting it at NIF, and we have to do that, and no, we have to wear this cream as well because there's a low dose of neutron radiation that's emitted from the plant." I'm like, "Really?" Like, yeah, it's harmless. Okay. So I went to work the next day, and I started talking to my makeup artist, Jenny. She's 60 years old. She lied to me. So I was a bit iffy about this, and I said, "What's the story with this neutron radiation?" And she goes, "Oh, yes, no, we all, all the crew, everybody has to take the pills." Oh, okay, all right, fine. So I get called to set, and I wasn't wearing the cream. And I was a little bit nervous about it, but I thought, it's a block through, and what we do when we shoot something is we do a block through to work out how we're going to shoot the scene, what we're going to do in the scene, and then they light it, we come back. Well, block throughs normally take 15 minutes max. This was like the longest block through in the history. This is like we were in there for an hour, and I started to feel ill. I could have sworn I was getting radiation poisoning. And it was really pissing me off. So anyway, I came back, and then they put all these dots over my face, this neutron cream. They had a little tub with neutron cream written on it. They did a very good job. And so I walked back on set, and I'm with John Cho, because he's working this for the first time at this location as well. He's got dots all over his face. Hey, mate. They then went and had me talk to the international press.
Oh.
They were in on it. So we're working there through the day, and then all of a sudden the DP, Tommy Gormley, goes, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, come on, let's shake it out. Let's shake those neutrons out." So suddenly the whole crew starts doing this. Shaking, and so, you start doing that too, and it's like, no, apparently you have to shake the neutrons out, it really helps. So, anyway, after lunch, I went back to my trailer at lunchtime, I had lunch, and I was really not feeling very well by this point, and I was seriously pissed off at why my health was in such jeopardy for shooting a movie. I was getting radiation poisoning. So we came back after lunch, and they had us do this public service announcement. And they had these big sort of billboard cards for John Cho and I to read out. And it said things like, "We just want you to know that despite what you've heard out there in the community, that NIF is really safe." And I'm like, "What is this place? This is insane." So we were reading a thing, and like the last couple of lines on the second to last card basically said, "And most importantly of all, we want you to know that you've been," and then they pulled the last card away, and it went, "had." Nice one. So, and everyone thought it was hilarious. JJ was laughing, the whole cast was laughing, rolling around. And apparently how the whole thing started was obviously Simon Pegg turned to Chris Pine in the makeup chair on the first day and said, "Oh, have you got your neutron cream?" He's like, "Neutron cream?" Yeah, the radiation, so, and he had Pine going for like 10 minutes and he thought it was hilarious. Like, well, let's get the next person. So then, progressively through the week, it got more and more elaborate. And when Benedict Cumberbatch came on for his day, they made him sign a disclaimer, which he didn't read. He hadn't read it. It said, after a whole bunch of legal gobbledygook, that there is no radiation emitted from this facility and I'm a complete idiot for signing this. He just signed it and then thought, he didn't even read it. So then at lunchtime, JJ called everybody together and said, look, there's been a few violations, people not wearing their cream and taking the pills. And he started reading out this document, because actually, we should get Benedict, you've got a very sonorous voice, you read this out. So he read out the document he signed, and when he got to that bit of, and I'm a complete idiot for it, But I just want to say, even though I got Pine first. Because the night before, we went out for drinks at the hotel that we were in, and came time to get the bill, and we were all staying on the same floor. It was like the third story. And I was like, I'll get that. And so the bill came along, and so I just put like a room number. Not my room number. On the check, 326. Thank you very much. And everyone's like, oh, thanks, mate. Thanks for those drinks. Cheers to the no worries. No worries. And I'm sitting there for a while. Hey, so what room are you in? Oh, 317. Oh, yeah, Zach, 320. Chris, what room are you in? 326. Cheers, mate. He's good for it. Simon Pegg will keep. I'm going to get him. I will get him back. I've got a long memory. I want to tell you a little story about a friend of mine, Viggo Mortensen. Middle of the night, it's like 3 in the morning, the phone goes and it's my agent, absolutely hysterical. Karl, you gotta get on the plane. You've gotta get on the plane. I'll buy you some red socks. You must get on the plane. The studio will freak out if you don't make it. You're shooting on Monday, you gotta get on the plane. I'm like, Jenny, whoa, what's going on? She said, what do you mean? She said, what do you mean? I said, well, what are you talking about? She goes, the red socks, I'll buy you more red socks. I'm like, what the are you talking about? Silence. Viggo. Viggo had called her up in the middle of the night and said, pretending to be me, going, Jenny, I'm not getting on the plane. I can't find my lucky red socks. I'm not getting on the plane. I'm not going. Fast forward 10 years. I'm in Spain doing press for Dread. Viggo's in Spain doing press for his movie called Earn Plan. I'm speaking to the press on Tuesday, he's speaking to them on Wednesday. So the press come in, all day long I'm talking to the press, and this is what I say. After my interview, I'm like, yeah, I've got the day off tomorrow. Yeah. And they're like, oh, what are you going to do? And I go, oh, I'm going to go and visit my mate Viggo. He's got a new farm, a goat farm. He's got 10,000 goats. He's making goat cheese in Segovia. So I said this to every single journalist, just like after the interview, off the cuff. It made the televised national news. Viggo Mortensen buys goat farm in Segovia. So the next day he goes into his press. No one wanted to talk about his film. They all wanted to know about the goat farm. He was so pissed. At the end of it, he stopped denying it and saying, yes, I do have a goat farm. I like the spotted goats because their cheese is sweeter and they fart less. Simon Pegg will keep.
Before we get to the next question, just got a note for the people, stop taping, including press, so sorry guys. So next question, this guy has been holding up his arm for so long. Yeah.
How are you? You did? In the movie you did? Just for him. In the movie I say, Mama's not the law. I am the law.
You right there in the denim shirt.
First off, I wanted to say thank you because last summer my mom passed away from cancer, and in the hospital,
I'm sorry to hear that.
In the hospital, we bonded a lot over Star Trek TOS and the reboot, and I wanted to thank you and the castmates. But my question is, how much do you take away from the characters you play? I mean, you play such intense characters very often. Do you take a lot of that back with you after you're done the job?
Yeah, there are certain elements that I take away. Steel. Like my Starfleet insignia, I nicked that in the first movie. Plus my Starfleet ring, I took that as well. But how much do I take away? Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, you know, as far as, you know, Bones goes, he's a character that's very close to my heart. You know, I grew up watching Star Trek and being a fan of it. You know, Star Trek, Star Wars, all of that sort of stuff. And but Star Trek particularly, I have, you know, fond memories of watching it with my dad. And so, you know, it was very important to me. And you know, when I heard that they were rebooting it, I really wanted to be a part of it. And because I had just watched the complete box set with my son. And so, yeah, it was something that, you know, I didn't have to go and, you know, after that, before the sort of the audition, I didn't have to go and, you know, have a look at what DeForest did, because I just felt that I knew it. I knew the character, I knew the archetypes, I knew the relationships, what they meant. And I think basically myself and Simon Pegg are the only members of the cast that really kind of, you know, knew about the old series. So, and I guess my approach to the character was, it was important to me as a fan that if I was going into the movie theatre, that I see some semblance of what the late great DeForest Kelley had done. I would feel gypped if I went in there and, you know, and I didn't see a recognisable Bones. And so that, for me, that was the challenge. It was how to kind of incorporate sort of some of the wonderful elements that, you know, that DeForest injected into that character, and then at the same time make it my own and my interpretation of what a younger version of that character is. Yeah, so that was the challenge, and it was freaky at times because you didn't always necessarily know. Well, I didn't always necessarily know the first time around where that line was between, you know, doing, you know, sort of, I guess, incorporating the essence of it and then going too far and doing an imitation, because I did not want to do that. But I think it turned out pretty well. You know, I try not to take my characters home. Sometimes it's harder than others. You know, I was absolutely miserable on Dread. You know, I was, you know, working out, you know, 3 hours a day, and then that costume was not the most comfortable costume that I've ever worn, and it kind of puts you in a mood. So it's hard not to take that home. Yeah.
Cool, right in the aisle right here. You right there. Yep.
How did you like playing Cupid from Xena?
I loved it. Yeah, Cupid from Xena was a fun character. It was, you know, again, you know, a lot of hard work, and they glued these wings to my back. And the first costume that they made for me didn't have any mechanism in it for me to go to the toilet. Guys, we've got a little issue here. Just need to sort this out, which they did. But that was also, I mean, you know, at the end of doing, you know, Cupid for a week, you've got sort of welts and stuff all over your back, because it's basically, you know, the glue is just, you know, causing issues. But I learned something very interesting on that, actually. I learned that the power of positivity. I knew that there was no point in me complaining about the pain and discomfort that I was in, because nobody could do anything about it. And so I just made up my mind to be positive and put positive energy out there. And I was really quite amazed at what came back to me from doing that. It was on the back of that Rob Tappert offered me Caesar, the role of Caesar. And, yeah, and I kind of think, obviously, a bunch of other stuff sort of, really came from that. So yeah, it was a great experience. I'm very proud of it.
Right there behind the tie-dye baby.
I didn't get a chance to get my autograph directly from you. I was not allowed to leave this floor, so I'm thrilled to be able to speak to you. I wanted to actually ask about Zenith. With regards to, there were a lot of episodes that were comedic or sometimes, downright serious. So, I mean, obviously, Cupid was a little bit more lighthearted. Caesar was a little bit more darker, a little more evil. In your sort of, what did you prefer? Did you prefer the sort of, playing like the bad guy, or kind of aside from
Bad boys have more fun. Right? It was always fun to play those characters on the darker side of life. They dare to do and say the things that we can't in real life. But I think the challenge, I think, to portraying a successful villain is not to make him some stereotypical twirl-the-moustache bad guy. You have to know why he's doing what he's doing, and I think that's one of the reasons why Benedict Cumberbatch, his performance in Star Trek was so amazing, because you were enamored by him, you cared for him, you felt empathy for his plight, and then he turned and he became a monster, and then you felt had, and it was so genius. So yeah, it's that. Thank you.
Right over there, is that a Batman? Yeah, Batman. There you are.
I was just wondering, in terms of your character in the Chronicles of Riddick and where he started off at, and where he's going to be in the next movie, how do you think he's evolved since then?
Ben Affleck, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a round. Thanks, Ben. I'm a huge fan of yours. My character in the next Chronicles, I was actually shooting Star Trek at the time, and so I just did a cameo. I came in for one day, and how shall I say this? I helped get Riddick off the ship. And set him on course to his new adventure. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. I've seen a bit of the footage, and it looks amazing. And of course, having the opportunity to work with Vin is always great. I really love him. He's a brother. And David Tui's a fantastic director, very, very specific. And we had a great time. It was really wonderful just getting back together after all those years, and getting to hang with them for a day in their playground. Thank you.
Foam finger in the middle.
As you started off this, what is your favorite catchphrase that you've ever had to say, even outside of Star Trek or any of the other roles that you've done?
I'd probably be good. Are you out of your Vulcan mind? I like that. What else? I like, how do you want it, kids? Hot shot. Like those. Roberto Orsi and Alex Kurtzman are amazing writers. Lines like, space is full of disease and danger wrapped in darkness and silence. That's great writing.
Foam finger in the back.
If you could come to one of these conventions just as someone here, who would you dress up as?
You.
Oh, that was serious.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah. Right there. Yep, you were in the red.
No, not you. With the flowers, you. We'll get to you.
You've been in a lot of movies and television. You played a lot of roles, and I wanted to know which one was your favorite. Which is the role that you connected most with, that you love playing the most?
Wow, that's really hard. I have been asked that question a few times, and it's it'd be like asking a parent which is their favorite child, and it's so difficult because you invest so much time, energy, and love into these characters. I can say roles that I'm particularly proud of. Obviously, is Bones in Star Trek, Dread. There's a lot of hard work that went into that. I had a great time working with Matt Damon on The Bourne Supremacy. That was it's, and of course, I did this small independent film back in New Zealand. You probably haven't seen it. It's called Lord of the Rings.
Hello.
That was a good one too.
The red man.
So touching back on the whole Ben Affleck thing, when I moved this place announced, you were kind of one of the guys in it that immediately went for it to take that role. What did you got?
It's not actually true, but I like where your head's at.
Were you actually in the role for it?
No, I never. Look, dude, I mean, I was shooting Almost Human and committed to doing that and Star Trek and the Batman role I think was sewn up by Ben and his team months and months and months ago. And you got to understand that he's has a long-standing relationship with Warner Brothers, not only as an actor but a director, and I can see the business sense to why they went there, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does with it. And I thought Christian did a great job. He really did.
You would have been better.
Oh, I'm not going to argue with you.